As we learned in the last video, files can be opened in three different modes: read, write, and append. Read opens a file for reading and positions the file pointer right at the beginning of the file. Write opens a file for writing and erases the contents of the file if it exists. If it doesn't exist, a new file is created. And append opens a file for writing but preserves all the contents of the file. Whatever's written to the file is written at the end of the file. What about reading? We looked at what's about writing a file, but let's look at reading. Now, one of the things you need to know about files is that unless you specify a particular path, the file will be created or searched for in the same folder where you have your source code. So if your input file and output file, you need to have your input file in a different folder, and you need to create your output file to a different folder, then you must specify the path. Okay, let's look at reading from a file. This is the file philosophers.txt that we created in the last program. So as you can see here, the output file for one program can become the input file for another. So here we say in file. We don't have to call it in file. You can call it you can name the file object anything you want. You can call it zebra, giraffe, anything you want. But to make your code readable, we try to keep our names meaningful. In file is a meaningful name which kind of tells that this is a file that is going to be used for input. And you're going to open the file philosophers.txt. You're going to read it you're going to open it in R mode. R mode means it's open for reading. And now we're creating the contents of the file. We're saying file contents is equal to infile.read. You're basically reading the contents of the file, and you are reading them all into this object, which is file contents. And then you say infile.close, and you're going to say print the file contents. So that reads the entire contents of the file. If there were 10 philosophers in this file, it would read the 10 philosophers. So now let's run this program, and that's what was in the file, and that's what it read, and that's what was printed out. Okay, what if you wanted to read not the whole file, but one line at a time? Well, in that case, we have several different variables here. We have line 1, line 2, line 3. Into the first one, we say infile.readLine. ReadLine is going to read a whole line into the object line 1. It's going to read starting at, for example, John Locke. It's going to start at the J. It's going to go to the end of the line after the E, read from that, and then line 2 will be read from the D in David Hume, and line 3 will be read from the E in Edmund Burke. So after that, we close the input file and we print line 1, line 2, and line 3. And this is what is printed: line 1, line 2, and line 3. We read the input file, and we read each line, and we printed each line. Okay. So now you have a file here, which is writenames.py. We're going to open this file up. And here we are taking input from the keyboard, but we're writing that input to the text, to the file. So I'm going to get rid of these right here for a second, and we are going to run this program. Enter the names of 3 friends. Friend 1, I'm going to enter Jane, student. Friend 2, Winnie the Pooh. Friend 3 is going to be Bart Simpson. Okay, and it says names were written to the file friends.txt. Let's open the file friends.txt. And we're going to open text files, open friends.txt, and look at it, and look at the names. They're all squished up against each other. I wanted them to be on a separate line. However, when these names were read, the end of line character was not read. And now what I need to do is I need to concatenate an end of line character before I write to the file, and which is why I have the plus /n. /n is the end of line character, and the plus concatenates that /n onto the name. So let's go ahead and run the module. Okay, again, we're going to write the name of friend. We're going to use the same names. And let's go and open and I have a much better looking file. I have Jane Student, Winnie Pooh, and Bart Simpson. Now you can also use functions like rstrip to strip the new line out of the file. And here we can let me open this. We read the line, and we can say line1.rstrip, strip the new line. And then when we run this module, we don't get the blank space that we got earlier because we stripped out the extra new line character that was coming in. So this is about reading files, and this is about writing strings to files. Next, we will look at writing numerics to files.